Calvin Ball vetoes a modest forest conservation bill that passed by a veto-proof majority hardly 2 weeks ago. My colleagues, Chair Opal Jones and Vice Chair Christiana Rigby, flop on a vote 29 days earlier. I will not dwell on the Executive's Officer of Sustainability, Josh Flellmark, whose efforts are for sustainability unless they run afoul of moneyed interests, which this bill does. Calvin Ball's Chief Sustainability Officer has fought this bill from the start. Since 2 years ago, when we tried to initiate those conversations with the Department of Planning and Zoning and the Office of Community State Sustainability through a four-show bill that was introduced earlier this year, just to hijack a reiteration of this bill. Always a chief officer of sustainability fighting a modest forest conservation bill. Why? Here's a good name, David Youngman. Never on earth did I think that D5's representative would find a forest conservation bill that I wholeheartedly supported. He lifted from the administration's per show bill its very best part, perhaps its only best part, and combined that with some enforcement mechanisms we had been searching for years, and put them together in CB79. That bill did pass unanimously a month ago. Calvin Ball doesn't veto David Youngman's bill. He vetoes D1 bills. Here's more good names. Deb Young, D4. Thank you for your constant, always reliable support of the environment. Always. Thank you. And more good names. We heard from them. We heard so many of them talk. And I remembered as I listened to them, breathless around my dining room table in July, when groups came out and testified in support of CB56, which was the earlier version of this bill. These are their names: the Audubon Society of Central Maryland, the Clean Water Action of Maryland, Howard County Bird Club, Howard County Citizens Association, Howard County Sierra Club, Indivisible Howard County, Maryland Conservation Council, Maryland League of Conservation Voters, Maryland Ornithological Society, the Patapsco Heritage Greenway, Preservation Maryland, Progressive Democrats of Howard County, Safe Skies Maryland, Savage Community Association, the People's Voice and Transition Howard County. All those groups came out and testified in support of a prior version of this very bill. One industry group testified against it. As late as today, local climate champions wrote to all of us today to say, these trees, they are warriors. These forests, they are armies. In our fight against climate change, in our fight just for survival in climate change, we counted 26 names in D2 that wrote in just to support an override of this veto. Why don't their messages matter? And here's why, because here's the last list of names I'm going to name tonight. The people who develop the land in this county, an executive who executes their will at every opportunity. Pete and Lou Mangione of Turf Valley, Elm Street Development, Howard Hughes, Don Brewer, Waverly Development, and every iteration of LLC and family member that you can get to donate to a campaign. Erickson Living, and the developer that started this very bill 2 years ago, Taylor Properties. So entitled, so arrogant, so defiant of the law for so many decades, with no consequence. Not from a county council that was in place before us and apparently in place now, not from county executives past and present. No one enforces the laws as they're written on this book. And that's the craziest part about this bill, is if we actually enforced state minimums that have been in place for decades, this is a marginal improvement. I would guess this saves some tulip poplars between the size of a 24-inch and a 29.9-inch diameter tree. That's all it does. But that again, just like CB38 in this hideous deja vu moment, it's too much. You are unwilling to do it. I promise everyone who wrote it, I promise everyone who worked on this bill so hard, including my D1 office, I am not going away. I'm not going to stop. And as long as we have support like we did for this bill, which was literally hundreds of emails over a holiday week saying, support this override, support these trees, support our environment. This is a personal issue to me. This is a moral issue to me. I live in a town that kills people if it rains too much. And this was too big of a bite. Just like I voted 29 days ago, I vote the same tonight. I support CB78. I vote to override Calvin Ball's veto.